Princess Charlotte starts her days with school runs, breakfast in Berkshire, and time on the trampoline before stepping onto the Buckingham Palace balcony in front of millions. Keep watching, because behind the royal spotlight is a surprisingly normal childhood few people ever get to see. Start with the image everyone knows: Trooping the Color, King Charles' birthday parade, the crowd on the Mall craning their necks toward the Buckingham Palace balcony. And there's Charlotte, front and center, doing what's become her unofficial job, keeping her brothers in line. Reports describe how she is often praised for keeping her brothers, Prince George and Prince Louis, in line during Trooping the Color and other balcony appearances. She's the one nudging Louis when he starts pulling faces, the one whispering instructions when George's attention drifts. Nobody assigned her that role. She just took it. That's the public version. Now here's the part that happens the same day, hours earlier, that nobody photographs. Kensington Palace and now Windsor insiders have described mornings that look almost identical to any other families. Kids on a trampoline, breakfast getting made in the kitchen, chaos before the car arrives. One royal watching outlet put it plainly: the Princess of Wales's morning with her 3 children includes playing on the trampoline and preparing breakfast at Forest Lodge. Same day, same girl, completely different scene. So who is she when the cameras aren't rolling? Multiple people who've actually interacted with her say the same thing. Kate Middleton herself gave one of the clearest windows into it during a stop in Scotland. A local woman handed her a handmade crochet bunny for Charlotte, and Kate's response gave away more than she probably meant to. She told the woman, "Well done, that must have taken a long time," and then added, "She will absolutely love that. She's got lots of teddies on her bed." That's not a line from a palace press release. That's a mum talking about her daughter's bedroom. Then there's the horse world. Paralympic equestrian Natasha Baker has spent time around the family and has talked about Charlotte's obsession with riding. After one event at Buckingham Palace, Baker said Kate was a very proud mom, gushing about how Charlotte is really enjoying her riding. Baker also revealed something else: that Charlotte has this passion about horses. And although Kate doesn't echo it, meaning this obsession is entirely Charlotte's own, not something pushed on her by her mother. And then there's royal correspondent Katie Nicholl, who's covered this family for years and has a nickname story that tells you exactly who Charlotte is when nobody's watching. Before Lambrook, before Thomas's Battersea, Charlotte went to a nursery school called Wilcox. The staff there had a nickname for her that had nothing to do with being a princess. Nicholl explained it this way: apparently she earned that nickname because obviously she is a princess. But she's quite a tomboy. She loves climbing trees, and she's very much an adventurer. She was quite known for her feisty personality. I'm wondering if that might be a nickname that will stick with her. The name was Warrior Princess. A 3-year-old climbing trees and getting a reputation for it, years before she'd ever stand on a balcony in front of the world. So you've already got 3 different voices painting the same picture. Her mom letting slip a bedroom detail, an Olympic-level athlete describing a genuine hobby, a royal reporter relaying a nursery nickname that had nothing to do with rank. 3 completely different sources, 3 completely different contexts, and they all land in the same place. There's a wide gap between the poised girl on the balcony and the kid underneath the title. That gap is the whole story here. It's not that the balcony version is fake. She really does keep her brothers in check. She really is becoming a fixture at state events. It's that right alongside it. There's a second life running in parallel, one involving trampolines, teddy bears, tree climbing, and horse lessons, one that her parents have gone to enormous lengths to protect. And digging into how they've protected it, the choices they've made about school, about staff, about where they actually live, is where this story gets interesting. If you want to understand how Charlotte's parents have handled this balancing act, you have to start with school, because that's where the effort shows up most clearly. Charlotte didn't start at Lambrook. Her first stop was Wilcox Nursery School in Kensington, a preschool that cost £14,500 a year and was conveniently located just minutes away from the family's former residence at apartment 1A. That's where the Warrior Princess nickname came from. From there, she moved to Thomas's Battersea, a prestigious London school, following her brother George. And in 2022, everything shifted. The whole family relocated to the countryside and George and Charlotte switched over to Lambrook School in Berkshire, with Lewis joining them there too. The move wasn't just about the school. It was a full relocation of the family's daily life, away from Kensington Palace, away from central London, into a completely different kind of environment. And once they landed at Lambrook, something interesting happened to Charlotte's identity on paper. At school, she wasn't introduced as Princess Charlotte at all. She went by a version of her parents' title instead, first Charlotte Cambridge, and then once William became Prince of Wales, the school reportedly shifted her name to Charlotte Wales. That's confirmed by reporting that traced the shift directly to William's change in title. Noting his elevation has likely led to a change in his daughter's school name to Charlotte Wales. Her actual name at school, before that, was simply Charlotte Cambridge, a nod to her parents' titles at the time. Nothing more. Think about what that means practically. A kid who stands fourth, then third in line to the British throne, walks into class every day as just another surname. No princess. No crown emoji next to her name on the register. That's a deliberate design choice, and it lines up with everything else her parents have done. Now let's talk nicknames, because there are a lot of them, and each one tells you something different about who's speaking. At home, Kate reportedly calls her Lottie, sometimes Poppet. William has his own one, Mignonette, a French term that basically translates to little cutie or small and delicate. One outlet described how William and Kate just want the girl he lovingly calls Mignonette to enjoy being a kid, even with everything else going on around her. Meanwhile, her brothers had their own name for baby Lewis when he arrived. They called him Lulu, a detail that shows this family's private language has always run separately from the formal titles the public sees. Then there's the household staff. And this is where the real machinery behind Normal starts to show. Maria Teresa Turrion Borrallo has been with this family since 2014, brought in shortly after George was born. She trained at Norland College in Bath, the institution that's basically the gold standard for elite childcare, known for producing nannies who blend old-school discipline with modern child psychology. Norland's own leadership has described what they look for in graduates, traits like being loving, kind, honest, creative, practical, responsible, organized, and willing to continually learn and improve in order to do the very best for the families and young children with whom they work. Borrallo has spent over a decade with this family, and the way royal watchers describe her tells you she's not just staff. She's part of the architecture of Charlotte's stability. One recent write-up called her a constant presence as the Wales family moved from Kensington Palace to Anmer Hall and later to Adelaide Cottage in Windsor, supporting the children through school transitions, overseas tours, and the demands of growing up in public. She's shown up at big moments too. Charlotte's christening, where she appeared in the full traditional Norland uniform, and Pippa Middleton's wedding. But day to day, she operates in the background. When the family moved to Windsor in 2022, they made a decision that tells you a lot about how they want their kids raised. No live-in staff. No live-in staff. Adelaide Cottage simply didn't have room for it. And by choice, they kept it that way even after upgrading to their current home, Forest Lodge. As one report on the move summed up, Adelaide Cottage didn't have space for live-in staff. And when Prince William and Princess Kate moved to their new forever home, Forest Lodge, it's understood Nanny Maria didn't go with them, meaning even with a legendary nanny on payroll, William and Kate chose to be the primary hands-on presence in their kids' evenings and mornings, not staff. That decision got public recognition too. Borrallo received the Royal Victorian Medal in silver, an honor handed out personally through the royal household to mark loyal service. William himself carried out the investiture. It was described as recognition of, in the words of one report, continuity and trust, values at the heart of the Royal Victorian Order, with the Prince and Princess of Wales placing enormous emphasis on stability and normality for their children. So here's what you've got by this point in the story. A school where she isn't called princess, a set of nicknames that strip the formality away entirely, and a household that deliberately limited its own staff to force more hands-on parenting. None of that is accidental. It's a system built piece by piece, specifically to counterbalance the version of Charlotte the public sees on balconies and in parade carriages. But a system like that only means something if you know what it's protecting her from. And that's where the weight of her actual position in this family and in the country comes in. Here's where the story shifts from what her parents built to what she's actually going to have to hold. Because underneath the trampoline mornings and teddy bear beds, Charlotte occupies a position in the royal family that very few people her age have ever occupied, and it's only getting heavier as she grows. Start with the numbers. Charlotte was born fourth in line to the throne, behind her grandfather Charles, her father William, and her older brother George. That was already historic on its own because of timing. Just 3 years earlier, the law had changed. For centuries, British succession worked on male preference primogeniture. Brothers jumped ahead of sisters no matter who was born first. Charlotte arrived right after that changed, and it mattered immediately when Louis was born in 2018. Instead of getting bumped down by her baby brother the way every princess before her would have been, she kept her spot. Coverage at the time called it what it was. While the world was watching her new baby brother make his public debut, Princess Charlotte quietly made history. Despite now having another brother, Princess Charlotte kept her place in line to the throne, becoming the first royal girl to welcome a baby brother and not lose her line in succession. That single legal shift is why Charlotte sits ahead of Louis today instead of behind him, something that would have been unthinkable for any princess born a generation earlier. The reform behind it has a name: the Succession to the Crown Act 2013, and it did more than reorder siblings. It rewrote what it means to be a royal daughter, period. Analysis of the law describes it as a shift where the abolition of male primogeniture marked a profound and historic shift in the traditions of the British monarchy, deeply impacting Princess Charlotte's position within the royal family. Charlotte is currently third in line, behind her grandfather the king and her father the future king, ahead of both her younger brother and her Uncle Harry's family. The Wikipedia tract line of succession lays it out simply. Charles III has been the sovereign since 2022, and his heir apparent is his elder son, William, Prince of Wales. William's 3 children are next in order of birth: Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Now, does that mean she'll be queen? Almost certainly not, if things go the way everyone expects. George is set up to inherit ahead of her, and if he has children of his own one day, Charlotte moves further down. Not closer, but almost certainly not, isn't impossible. And that's exactly why she's never been treated as a spare who can disappear from public life. Royal watchers have pointed out the scenario that keeps her in the conversation. While it remains uncertain if Princess Charlotte will become queen, given her current position as third in line, if Prince George, the current heir, does not have children or chooses to abdicate, Charlotte would be next in line. It's a long shot, but it's a real one, and every institution around her, security, education, PR, treats her as though it could happen, because it has to. There's also a specific honor waiting for her that has nothing to do with the crown itself, and everything to do with her gender and her position as William's eldest daughter, the title Princess Royal. Right now, that belongs to Princess Anne, and it isn't handed down automatically. It's given at the discretion of the sitting monarch, typically to the eldest daughter of the king or queen. Since Charles has no daughters, the title is expected to sit unused after Anne is gone, until William takes the throne. Analysts following the family's trajectory have laid it out this way. The Princess Royal title, currently held by Princess Anne, is not automatically passed down, but is bestowed by the reigning monarch. And as King Charles III has no daughters, the title will likely be held in suspension once Princess Anne passes away. However, it is anticipated that Princess Charlotte will be granted this title once her father ascends the throne, honoring her position as the eldest daughter of the monarch. That's not a small thing to be sitting on top of as a 10-year-old. It means every appearance she makes now, every balcony wave, every coronation appearance, every carriage ride to Buckingham Palace, is being read by royal commentators as training for a job she's likely to inherit decades from now. on top of a place in the succession line that, however unlikely, remains technically live. And her name itself was chosen with all of that weight built in. Charlotte Elizabeth Diana. 3 generations compressed into one child's name, it honors her grandfather Charles, her great-grandmother Queen Elizabeth II, and her late grandmother Princess Diana, a woman Charlotte never met but is already being compared to constantly by royal photographers who track her expressions against old photos of Diana at the same age. One breakdown of the name put it directly. Her full title is Her Royal Highness Princess Charlotte Elizabeth Diana of Wales, a name that pays homage to her grandfather King Charles, her great-grandmother Queen Elizabeth II, and her late grandmother Princess Diana. She even had a real relationship with the great-grandmother she's named partly after. Charlotte reportedly called Queen Elizabeth Gan-Gan, a detail that's been repeated by royal watchers as one of the few soft human glimpses into that relationship before Elizabeth's death. It's described as a sweet glimpse into their close family bond, and it's part of why people who track Charlotte closely see her as something of a bridge. Old monarchy values sitting inside a kid who also just wants to do handstands in the garden. So that's the weight. A near-permanent seat near the top of the succession line, a title waiting in the wings that could come her way regardless of whether she ever gets close to the throne, and a name built entirely out of royal history. None of that goes away when she gets home from school. And that's exactly why what her parents do inside that home. The actual hour-by-hour texture of her private life matters so much. That's where we go next. So if the succession line and the future title are the heavy stuff sitting in the background, what does Charlotte actually do with her days? This is where William and Kate's parenting philosophy really shows up, and it's more deliberate than people give it credit for. Screen time is one of the clearest examples. Reports have consistently said William and Kate cap their kids at up to 1 hour of TV per day, and that Charlotte's favorite show to watch in that window is Peppa Pig. That's a very specific, very ordinary rule, the kind any parent might set, being applied inside a home with a security detail. William has talked about the flip side of that rule too, describing what happens if you dare to zone out during that hour with his kids. He said their daughter gets really upset if you're not showing due diligence to the characters. That's not a princess speaking through an aide. That's a parent complaining about the same thing every parent complains about. Outside of screen time, Charlotte is, by every account, an outdoor kid. She plays tennis, rugby, and football, and her dad has publicly called her a budding star after a visit with the England women's team. Her real love, though, might be gymnastics. Kate has described her daughter's after-school energy in a way that could apply to literally any 10-year-old on the planet, saying Charlotte spends most of her time upside down, doing handstands and cartwheels. Dance is in there too, ballet and tap. Something Kate has confirmed Charlotte genuinely loves, which also links her back to her grandmother Diana, who was a dancer herself. Then there's the garden. This detail says a lot about how far William and Kate have gone to protect actual privacy, not just manage public image. At Kensington Palace, they had extra tall bushes planted specifically around their private yard, described as an accommodation for the kids' energy and privacy, giving Charlotte room to run and play spider hunting games, with George and their mother without long-lens cameras catching every second of it. It's a small, physical example of a much bigger pattern. Building actual barriers, not just publicity spin, between Charlotte's daily life and the public gaze. Language lessons are part of the routine too. Charlotte has reportedly been picking up Spanish, taught informally by her nanny, whose own native language gave the household an easy built-in way to introduce a second language without turning it into a formal lesson. It's low-key, almost incidental, which fits the entire theme of how this family operates. Nothing about Charlotte's private life is designed to look impressive. It's designed to look ordinary. There's a hosting habit too, one that's been mentioned by people close to the family. Charlotte apparently loves playing host when guests come by, offering them tea, coffee, or sweets unprompted. A source close to the family described her personality directly, saying she has a very bubbly personality and loves to play hostess when people visit. It's a strange, charming detail. A future potential princess royal running around offering biscuits to visitors, like she's 35, not 10. And all of this happens against a backdrop of repeated relocation, which on its own would be disruptive for any kid, let alone one under constant public tracking. Kensington Palace, then Anmer Hall, then Adelaide Cottage in Windsor in 2022, then Forest Lodge as their more permanent base. Each move came with a school transition attached. Each move also came with a recalibration of how much staff support they'd allow into the house. One recent profile of the family's setup summarized the through line. No matter how busy Princess Charlotte's schedule might seem with school and royal duties, family time is incredibly important. And this could involve anything from quiet evenings at home, enjoying dinner together, and reading bedtime stories, to more active pursuits during weekends and holidays. Moments crucial for building strong family bonds and allowing Charlotte, along with her brothers, to experience the joys of childhood away from the public eye. That's the pattern across every single detail in this section. Screen time, sports, gardens, hosting guests, moving house. None of it is randomly ordinary. It's ordinary on purpose, stacked deliberately against everything we covered in the last section. The succession math, the future title, the name built from royal history. Two completely different forces pulling on the same kid every single day. And somehow both of them are true at once. Which brings us to where this is all heading. Because Charlotte isn't staying 10 forever, and the balance her parents have built is about to get tested in ways it hasn't been yet. So where does all of this leave her? Charlotte is closing in on her 11th birthday, and every marker of her life right now points to that balance getting harder to hold, not easier. School is already shifting under her. She's moved buildings within Lambrook as she's aged up and reporting on her routine notes. The family has been balancing school runs with a refreshed schedule of royal duties. That's a small phrase, but it tells you something important. The refreshed schedule isn't just about getting older. It's about more official appearances creeping into a life that used to be almost entirely school and home. Her balcony role is already expanding too. She's not just standing there anymore. She's actively managing her brothers in front of cameras, and royal watchers have started reading her posture and expressions the way they'd read a senior royals. One recent piece described her as someone who has often been noticed for her calm and composed presence during major royal events. Whether standing on the Buckingham Palace balcony or attending formal ceremonies, she tends to appear focused, still, and aware of her surroundings. That's not typical language for a 10-year-old. That's language usually reserved for adults who've been trained for public appearances their whole lives, which in a sense she has. The jewelry and heirloom tradition is starting too, even if she's too young for most of it yet. Royal daughters inherit access to historic pieces through use, not ownership. And Charlotte is already positioned inside that tradition, the same way Kate and Diana were before her. It's one more thread connecting her daily reality to a much longer royal lineage that existed long before she was born and will keep going long after. And there's a version of her future that's already been mapped out publicly, even if it's decades away. Once William becomes king, Charlotte becomes the presumed future Princess Royal, a title that, again, isn't guaranteed but is widely expected given precedent and her position as his eldest daughter. Long before that happens, though, she'll go through everything an ordinary British kid goes through. Bigger schools, harder exams, first heartbreaks, the works, except hers will happen with a security detail nearby, and a camera occasionally catching the edges of it. That's really the whole story here. There's the girl the world sees a few times a year, poised, composed, managing her brothers on a balcony in front of a roaring crowd. And there's the girl her parents have spent a decade quietly protecting, the one doing handstands in the garden, hosting imaginary tea parties for guests, upset if you don't pay proper attention to Peppa Pig, climbing trees hard enough to earn herself the nickname Warrior Princess before she'd even turned 4. Both of those girls are real. both of them are the same person, and the entire architecture around her. The nanny, the tall garden hedges, the school where she's just Charlotte Wales, the screen time rules, the deliberate lack of live-in staff exists for one reason: to give her as much of that second life as possible, for as long as possible, before the first one inevitably takes over. Whether that balance holds as she gets older, as the appearances multiply and the succession conversation gets louder, is genuinely something nobody can answer yet. Not her parents, not the palace, not the royal correspondents who've spent a decade watching her closely. What's clear is that behind those palace walls, for now at least, there's still a kid in there who just wants her handstands, her horses, and her spot on the trampoline before breakfast. Sources: Woman and Home. Prince George and Princess Charlotte's secret life at the palace. Parade. Inside Princess Charlotte's bedroom. Support for safety. Princess Charlotte's daily royal life. Yahoo! Princess Charlotte is thriving despite growing up in the royal spotlight. Yahoo! Inside Princess Charlotte's bedroom. Cheat sheet. Inside Princess Charlotte's daily routine. The Mirror. Princess Charlotte's school nickname. Good to Princess Charlotte's nickname at nursery school. Entertainment Daily. Princess Charlotte's nickname at school. Marie Claire. Prince George and Princess Charlotte's nanny salary. Royal Central. The Prince and Princess of Wales's nanny honored. Hello Magazine. Meet Princess Kate and Prince William's discreet royal nanny. Marie Claire. Prince William gives Nanny Maria a special honor. Royal Insider. Inside the life of a royal family nanny. First Colonial. Could Princess Charlotte ever be queen? Time. Royal baby Princess Charlotte. Why she's fourth in line. Smithsonian Magazine. Why Princess Charlotte just made royal history. CBS News. Princess Charlotte made royal history. Hola! Princess Charlotte and Queen Elizabeth II's legacy. Wikipedia. Succession to the British throne. Royal titles. Will Princess Charlotte be queen? Betroyals. Line